Welcome to this week's edition of the mma-analysis podcast. I am your host, Lance Fishel. Great card this week. Good pay-per-view. Big fight. We made it. The last few weeks, really this year outside of the pay-per-view, I'd say has been the worst run of fight night cards you could ever see, which also mixed with the worst run of gambling in MMA in my entire life, which was covered by 2 golf wins, so we're okay. But man, I've been on big losing streak, but big card this week. Exciting fights. I'm excited as a fan this week as well. New Jon, how you doing?
I mean, that's really all you can ask for at this point. It's last week with the late cancellation was just the cherry on top to what we've been dealing with. So be thankful for the card this weekend because they are rare and rare these days.
Yes.
Got to knock some wood that Johnny Bones doesn't get arrested before Saturday.
It's always a possibility. There's always a chance.
Running around with that black beanie and shades and stuff, it's kind of put me on edge. Like,
right?
I'm like, this dude's planning something, right? Like, it's got me on edge.
Yeah. Did you see the video? There was a video today, and someone was filming him or whatever, and he was in the plane, and someone was asking him what he does. He's like, I'm a cage fighter. This motherfucker's flying Southwest to the card. Southwest Airlines. He is the greatest fighter of all time. He's made a lot of money. He's rich. He's flying Southwest Airlines. That's like a tick above Spirit.
Do they have any other airlines in Albuquerque?
Delta's everywhere. You just have to connect. I will fly.
Maybe there's nonstop from fucking. There's probably
Albuquerque
nonstop
to
from
Vegas.
Albuquerque to Vegas.
That's just a little puddle jumper.
Old Bones has had like quite a few legal things that he's had to pay for over the years, and not fighting for 3 years. Like the money goes quick. It goes.
He's probably banned from a few airlines.
Mate, that's probably it.
That is very possible. Brad, how are you doing?
Losing a lot of MMA bets. So reverse swept 2 weeks in a row for like 7 units each. Swept last week's card 1-0. We're back on track. Luckily the lacrosse has been treating us well. So somehow I'm still up this year.
Was it Sad Belly last week that got your
the over 2.5? The super fatties got there.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I had a bad card again.
Yeah.
Just doing that consistently. Just real consistent.
I started bad and had a good one, and then it's been a couple bad ones. But we teamed up for some good hits on Sunday. That made up for a horrible week.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. Yep. One golf win can take care of a
lot of MMA losses.
Several weeks of MMA losses, and I've had 2 golf wins the last 3 weeks, and I could easily have 5 so far this year.
The Colin choke fucking job is
6 on Sunday.
Rom whipping his fucking massive piece out 1 week and like, nah, this is mine.
Yeah, I got second to Rom twice, and both of them I had the leader with like 6 holes left.
I've been on all of them this year, but the Colin win was fucking stupid. That was
still up though. Even with all those chokes, still up. I'll take it.
They don't have can you ever bet those guys top 5, or are you just not into that? You're just betting them to win and that's it. Because you would be.
But it doesn't. It's a different strategy to bet like that. Like if you bet, I don't know, like last week, Kirk was a bigger one. He was like 30-1 to win. Like top 5, he'd probably be, I don't know, like 7-1, 6-1.
Probably lower.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so if you look at top 10s, Rory, I believe, is like minus 120 to be top 10 this week. So at that point, you're not betting these big futures. No. I've been betting golf for, I don't know, like 15 years. I've been betting it the same way the whole time, and it's basically equivalent to betting full bet on a plus 500.
Yep.
Is kind of how I bet it, and You only have to win once every 5 weeks to basically.
So Jason Day is plus 3,000 and he's plus 600 to be top 5.
So it doesn't. It's
well, there's some people that do like the win or the top 4 or 5 bet. They kind of make them both.
Lance, just keep doing what you're doing. It's working for me.
I miss NASCAR being close to that. Like the faves on NASCAR like 7-8 years ago were 10-12 to 1. Those were the faves.
Yeah.
Like I routinely hit 30 to 1s on NASCAR like that 7-8 years ago. Now faves could be plus 250.
Yeah.
Like Bubba season this weekend though.
Yep. All right.
But I think it's Bubba's season this season. I got a little 45, 50 to 1, something like that.
Has he ever won?
Yeah. Got a couple wins now. He actually won on a regular track last year. He's in Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin's cars now. Like he's in legit shit.
Does he have NOS?
Those cars got all the good shit. Who knows what they're putting that shit in nowadays.
Okay, let's we'll quickly go through last week's I would say travesty. Every week we're kind of topping the week before in how bad it is. Like last week, the week before we had Zach Paiuga, Jordan Wright as a co-main, just disgusting. This week we had the main drop out, so we had Brendan Allen, Munez as the main, and Sakai versus Mays as the co-main. It keeps getting worse, and I know there was some fallout here, and then they've been doing it even more recently. I feel 2 unranked heavyweights just sitting right in the middle of the fucking main card I think it's been like almost every card this year is like the third from the top is going to be a bad heavyweight fight with unranked guys going to decision.
Chase Sherman and Parker Porter, baby.
Ooh. Do we have a heavyweight fight in the middle of this card between unranked guys? No, we're good. It's pay-per-view. They would have done that if Bones wasn't on the card.
Gotta have it.
Did you know that he went up to heavyweight just by stopping cocaine? Stopped doing cocaine.
Thank you.
Gained like 50 pounds.
Well, we've been waiting for this fight for 2 years for Bones' heavyweight debut because he had to work on his body, work on himself at heavyweight. And like we're talking about the guy gaining like 20 pounds really, like right? And he comes out, he's this heavyweight guy, and the pictures come out. Basically, he just put like 15 pounds in his belly, and he's just a little bit fat. Like he's not much bigger, like upper body, muscular wise. His legs look the exact same size. He just looks like he put a few on, like it was off season.
He looks like if Fedor laid out in the sun too long, and then somebody stretched him.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to change anything, but it was funny. We waited this long so Jones could transform his body for heavyweight. And he literally just gained 20 pounds in his stomach.
I saw like gym pictures a couple years ago of him lifting and shit, and he looked way better than he does now. Like it's fight week, and he looked better just in the gym bulking up.
Was he in the testing pool back then?
That's always a question.
I mean, I think he stayed in the pool, but I mean now it's like he can do what he was doing before because all the shit got changed. Like now he never would have failed a test if the rules USADA just put in place. Like he never would have failed. So he could go back on whatever he was using that was just showing up barely.
Well, it is funny because the first year when he was out and transforming his body, you saw these videos like constantly. Him in the gym, him working out, just lifting big weights, all that. And like, I don't think I've seen a Jon Jones in the gym video in about a year.
He got bored of that real quick.
Do you remember the movie, The Great White Hype?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. David Wayne's out there.
Yeah, he just shows up. He's like he looks like he's pregnant, and he just knocks the guy out in one punch. I just always think about that when I see like a fat guy who's I think better. Like he just doesn't give a shit. He's not fat, I guess I would say. He doesn't look like he spent 2 years.
He just looks like he got
body.
older. He looks like he looks like he got older and just thicker in the chest and the fucking torso and shit. Like what happens when you're fucking 35, 40 years old.
Yeah, George Johnson mentioned he's been training with all the fighters that have been cut. That was so funny, those videos.
Yeah, Walt Harris and my boy Virginia Slim and shit. Like,
Yeah,
this
he
is
got
his
some
train-
top tier training partners right there. Like, holy
Yeah.
shit.
So
He
bad.
and he's pumping them up. So he's like, I'm in the gym every day with these savages. I'm
Monsters.
like, bro, that is goddamn Virginia Slim, homie.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron. I'm here with Jorgen De Castro. Just going hard rounds.
That was good stuff. That was good.
Oh God! All right,
Yeah, bare knuckle might be better than some of these UFC cards we got coming up.
I
Still haven't watched it.
I can't.
Yeah, I would do the coach thing, where that's what 45 minutes from his house. He said so. He's gonna head out and watch that. I'd probably go watch one live, but
I mean, I've watched some of them. Not the
you watch everything though. You don't.
Well, I mean, I don't watch all of these. Like some of them, they're on all the time now. They'll have a bare knuckle, and I didn't even know about it. Like they got a bunch of them.
I mean,
when they got like
41, I thought they did like 6 shows.
Yeah, I probably watched like 10 of them. Like when Rothwell is fighting, or they had fucking goddamn what's our boy's name? Johnny Cash tattoo. He's all fucking juiced up
Belcher.
now. Belcher.
Heavyweight now.
Yeah,
Belcher is a heavyweight bare
I've watched
fighter.
those. You best believe I'm watching Mike Perry work over fucking Luke Rocco.
See, I don't. It's not because of like it offends me of bare knuckle.
You're scared of blood. We know, Lance.
I find it so unappealing. Like it does absolutely nothing for me. Like there's nothing.
That shit is
discourages guys from throwing punches, and it's all washed up old dudes.
It's awful. Well,
watching those washed up old dudes who have greatness in the past is so much better than that. Half that UFC card last week. You trying to tell me that shit was more enjoyable than watching Chad Mendez juiced up again fighting?
I have no idea because
Eddie
I didn't
Alvarez
watch it either.
Yeah,
so.
but it's bare.
I give you that, Brad. You won't
No.
fuck with that. I'm just talking about other people that are like, well, I'll watch this shitty ass UFC card that I complain about and hate.
Oh yeah,
But I can't do
names
this.
out of it. I don't enjoy the sport of bare knuckle boxing. It could be you could take all the current UFC champions and put them in bare knuckle boxing in their primes. I would not watch it. It's so not entertaining.
I like fighting though. Like it's not just MMA. I like dudes scrapping. I like fighting. I like fist fight. I don't care. I like violence. That shit like, and it's comparative. Like I said, to the UFC product today, like you still see the Bellator hating, the PFL hating shit. Are you watching the UFC? Like, are you tuning in every week to this bullshit? Like it is
John
bad.
Lineker just had an awesome,
unbelievable
fight
fight.
and won. Last week.
They put
I
on
watched
great
that,
fights.
but I didn't watch any. Well, I watched a couple minutes of UFC.
I don't watch one very often. I don't even know when it comes on or where it's on.
They're terrible at marketing it, but if I see it on Amazon, I'll watch it.
And people went out of their way to watch that overnight UFC card that was absolute trash. Like they stayed up all night to watch that because it's called the UFC.
It was so bad. I watch most Bellator. I'd say I watch 95% of Bellator, and I watch PFL every week. That's kind of where I
draw the line.
I mean, I don't watch boxing. Like I watch no boxing whatsoever. I watch none.
I watched boxing before I ever watched MMA. So
never been a boxing guy. I've watched some here and there. Like I can't get in. I've wanted to get into it. I got nothing. Can't get into it.
Yep, it's not for everybody.
I like MMA too. I started watching MMA because of wrestling. So it's like my entry into combat sports and why I started watching it is much different than some others. Where if you got into boxing and that got you into MMA, I was watching collegiate wrestling, and then that got me into MMA. So I think it's also just, which is probably why I don't like bare knuckle. I'm not a boxing fan. I like grappling. I like fucking Bo Nickal. Like that's awesome. I'm excited to see Bo Nickal fight. Like I'm the wrestling side of things. So it's just a different enjoyment.
I just always like balance. I mean, I've been watching kickboxing and shit I was watching K1 and shit when people were not even talking about that stuff. They HD net and shit. I had satellite. I was watching HD net, watching fucking K1 Dynamites on New Year's Eve. Like Shit's great.
I did watch fights. I don't even know what org it was, but I used to watch MMA fights on HD. I don't remember what org.
Friday night fights.
They had a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
It was all the shit that's on
I remember
Fight
they had the
Pass now.
Canadian one, and then they had all the Maximum Fighting.
Well, now
all these different ones.
Now it's literally like they're all in the UFC. Like most of the dudes that would be on those cards now are in the UFC.
I don't even have
the dudes that are on those undercards are in the UFC now.
Yeah. I don't even have Fight Pass anymore, so like I don't really watch because it's like it's kind of I don't know. So it's hard for me to watch like a whole card on a Saturday of UFC, and then I'm watching like some random fight night card on a Friday. Like
I'll do the LFAs still. I watch that. That's about as low as I could get. I
that's
can't
on Fight Pass.
Yeah, they are on Fight Pass now.
Yeah, I watched it when it was on like television.
Yeah, it was on Access.
I used to watch it.
Or HD Net, then Access, but all of those switched over to. But I mean,
I watched it then.
They consolidated all of them and did a deal because it's Ed Suarez that runs all that shit, and he made a deal with the UFC and funnels fighters up there and put it on Fight Pass. So, but yeah, that MMA was great when it was UFC spread out a little bit, and you got all your lower level shit on Friday night on Access. Yeah. All the different orgs did their shit on there. Me and Brad's.
But it was
plus 250s. No, like it was, dude. Like,
what was that guy's name? The Manus or whatever. I remember that. Yeah,
it was. We had Shyness a couple weeks ago.
It's legit. Like a whole UFC fight night cards now would literally be Access Friday night cards, like straight up. That's what we was getting. Fucking 5-6 years before the Fox deal. Like that changed everything.
Not good. All right. We can quickly go through these and just see if you have any observations as I read through the prelims first. The lightweight division, Norelio Aliev defeated Rafael Alves, majority decision. He bit him. Still won. Super boring, dude. Not a fan. Lightweight, Joe Selecki defeated Carlton Denton. Sub, rear naked choke, second round. Ode Osborne defeated Charles Johnson, split decision. I thought Ode won that. Jordan Levitt defeated Victor Martinez knockout. Maybe the most embarrassing result I've ever seen in my life. Some chick beat some other chick by decision. And then Trevor Peek with just some elite striking takes out Eric Gonzalez by knockout in the first round. Sean, we'll start with you. Any
I did not watch this card. I was at a bachelor party for 4 days. It was quite good.
Yeah, no need to catch up on this one, I would say. Wes, anything here?
Yeah, it's Selecki with a slick sub. That was nice. I'm not sure how Selecki might be okay. I don't know. He's all right. Yeah, Ode probably beat Charles Johnson. I bet on Johnson, and yeah, I mean, I didn't trust that guy going in. I don't know why I bet on him, and he showed up. The guy I don't trust showed up. I bet Levitt every time and lose money. And of course, the time I bet against him, he goes out there and knocks a guy out in fucking like 30 seconds. Like, and then my boy, who Maddie says, of course, is blood cousin of oh boy, dude throwing that. They need to put the pickaxe in his hand like they did before, because he hit old boy with like a couple fucking hammer fist on the feet.
So bad.
Peek's fun.
They gotta put that in the UFC game now, don't they?
Peek, so.
He's fun.
Finishing move.
Like, don't talk about like I think I can contend. Like, this dude's out there talking about the word of God and he can contend for a title because of God and shit. Like, hey, bro, trust me, God ain't showing up when you're fighting. When you're fighting Doe Bronx, God ain't showing up when mac and cheese is laying on top of you, bro.
Brad, anything on these prelims?
I was out during the afternoon and I got back, and the fight that was on was the one chick getting the decision over the other chick. So I walked out of the room and like made some dinner or something like that. And then I came back in and I saw the Trevor Peek fight, and that was hilarious.
Yeah, I sadly watch every fight. Oh, bad news, by the way. My brother's getting married in May. The Do Bronx card is his wedding night.
Wow.
What an asshole.
So, like, he's going to get a TV at the reception, pay-per-view on there.
That's what the phone's
You need to just contact our boy Water Show. I think he's got some tricks and shit. He's done a few watch-alongs at some weddings before, so.
But it's tough when it's my brother.
Yeah, it's a little different for sure.
That's why I say you have to work it into the actual reception.
Yeah. I could probably be home by the Dubronx fight if it's the co-main.
Yeah,
Maybe.
Oh, is it like local? You're coming home at the end
Yeah,
of the night. It's not a hotel.
I'll be driving home. It's in Lebanon, which is like, I don't know. He goes like
That's pretty far, man.
20,
It's like
25
the other side
minutes.
of the world, isn't it?
It is. It's a long flight. It's about 20, 25 minutes. But
wear your bulletproof vest, your helmet and shit.
he texted me the other day. He's like, did you see the Dubronx fight announcement? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, that's my wedding hat. I was like, son of a bitch. So, yeah. All right. Moving on. Main card. I don't see a reason to go through each of these like we do on regular main cards. So, welterweight, Mike Mallet defeated Johan sub round 1. I actually hit a bet. I had him inside. Hooray for me. Women's flyweight, Tatiana Suarez defeated Montana De La Rosa sub, guillotine choke. I thought she looked okay at best. I didn't think she looked very good. But first fight back, up a weight class. Heavyweight, Sakai defeated Dontel Mays. Decision. This was absolutely dreadful as expected. And then Brennan Allen defeated Andre Muniz sub third round. I hate myself for this fight. I bet Muniz. I've been like a day one Brennan Allen fan. I bet this guy like a million times.
Fucking same, bro.
Like I have probably bet Brennan Allen at least 7 or 8 times. And I went the other way here. I thought this would be more grappling early on, and I thought Allen would get himself in trouble and get submitted. He didn't. And with a lot of Brazilians, we see this. They're way better at being the hammer than the nail. And once that pressure starts coming, they fade. It happens a lot. It's kind of maybe it's a cultural thing. They're just quitters over there. Besides Dubronx,
that's how you can tell who's from the favelas. Dubronx is from the favelas.
Yeah.
That's why he comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Auto from the favelas. Like you know which ones were raised where. That's for damn sure.
So is Muniz just nowhere near as good as everybody thought he was, or did he kind of have an off night?
Nope. He's not as good. I mean, I don't think. I think the problem is it was a bad game plan for one. His idea to just strike with Allen.
I don't think he had a choice. I don't think he had a choice. I think
but he didn't try very hard for a takedown in the first round and a half.
The couple times he did and got a hold of Allen, he was bodied. Allen overpowered that dude and just kept it up.
I think the other part of the game plan was he's not an elite wrestler. And I think we saw this out of Dubronx during his career that he got in this kind of trouble when he couldn't take guys down. So he pretty much dedicated himself to, before he did the striking, to becoming a really, really good wrestler. Jacare did this. A lot of the Brazilians did this who had really good top game jiu-jitsu, but didn't have takedowns. They just dedicated himself to being good wrestlers, especially in the clinch. And I don't think Muniz is there. So he doesn't have a way to get guys in the ground. So if he's getting outstruck, he has nothing. And then he gassed and quit. I think it's as simple as that. He's a quitter.
Yeah. I think the difference between him and a guy like Dubronx or something like that is he's been fighting for quite a while, but he didn't start fighting anything resembling good competition until the last few years. Whereas Dubronx has been doing it since he was 20 years old. He
fought Jim Miller when he was 22?
Took a lot of failing and learning some lessons for Dubronx to get as good as he did. That's for sure. Yeah. For me, I don't. Muniz is a fraud. I thought very, very highly of him going into that fight. I thought very highly of him. After watching that dude's kind of a fraud to me. And Lance you're right about wrestling and Brazilians needing to get shit down, being the nail and shit. I don't think you can learn good enough wrestling in the time that he's got left in this division to where, like, when Brendan Allen is bodying you, stopping your takedowns, and I don't think Muniz's hands didn't look bad. Like, he was landing some shit on, like, you can see he's got skills and stuff, but he's got a glaring weakness that's gonna cost him a lot in this division, man. I don't see it.
He to me, it's like we saw him land some punches. I call that jiu-jitsu boxing. He's an athletic dude who's been in combat sports and athletics. He's all that for a long time, but it doesn't look like someone who knows how to box. It looks like someone
He's seen
who
other
lands
people
some
throw
punches.
punches.
Yes, and he's athletic enough where he's going to land some stuff, but most of it's kind of looping a little bit, nothing overly clean. After he throws a punch, he's leaving himself wide open because
He's a hitting the mitts in the gym guy.
Well,
like
Jacare was that too, but Jacare was a way better athlete than this guy.
Yep.
And he used set up takedowns. He would use those punches to get in the clinch and take a guy down.
Yeah, you can see Muniz has absolutely put some time in the gym working on mitts and working on his hands, but when he gets in a firefight, he does dumb shit. Like he swings, his punches start getting loopy and shit. Like he's not it, man. I know there was quite a few people that were like, this guy can win a title like soon. And I'm like,
I was like, the matchups in the division are still ones that he could take advantage of.
Can he get guys down though? Like that's the question. Like
exactly, if he improves that thing, which is massive red flag.
Brendan Allen is piecing your ass up on the feet like that too. It's like that was just not a good look, man.
I think the one thing too outside of the wrestler where like Muniz is kind of like bullied some guys a little bit, like in the clinch and just kind of been the tougher guy. And Allen's not a good wrestler, but Allen also doesn't give a fuck. And Allen he's a tough dude. Like he's not a guy that's just gonna like give it up, and he's gonna keep moving forward. He doesn't give a shit. And I think sometimes that gives guys like a Muniz trouble because Allen's just gonna stay in his fucking face, and he didn't like it.
Allen's gonna win against some decent dudes, and he's gonna lose against some decent dudes, and you just gotta know when to. Like I believed in some Muniz hype, and in hindsight, I saw some people that were on Allen all week too, and I just didn't see it. I saw some people on Allen sub at the nice price. I just didn't see it, man, and I jumped off Allen a little too soon. Like Lance is right. Like that guy doesn't give a fuck. He's gonna scrap. You know what you're gonna get out of him, but he's gonna win some. He's gonna lose some.
I'm running so cold right now. I'm even betting against guys I always bet on and losing. Like it's just running cold right now. All right, let's move on to next week. And thinking of that middleweight division, like we got a guy debuting on this card. I already don't know who he loses to. I'm looking at Brendan Allen. I'm looking at Muniz. He runs through these motherfuckers. Like it's gonna be interesting over the next year or two to see how this guy gets matched up and where Lance is at. It's gonna be hard to cap his fights because every single person he fights, you're gonna look at the skill sets and go, Adesanya.
Somebody is gonna he's gonna have a little off night and tough night against somebody. That's always going to be the question when he gets in tough. That's always a question with these guys.
I'm taking this dude to embarrass the champ tomorrow. Absolutely.
Probably. I mean, I saw some of the grappling that happened in that Adesanya
embarrass him
fight. The one guy that I don't think he beats right now is Whitaker. Like that's sorry. I mean, that's not happening.
I would say that probably is Bo's toughest matchup. Bear is the easiest matchup.
This dude doesn't even have a fight in the real UFC yet. We're already there's one guy in the division that he can't beat. Like what are we doing?
What I was saying when you look at not if he'd win, when you look at this, when you're capping the fight and you look at the skill set, because I look at the skill set of what a guy can do to each other. When you look at Bo, it's going to be tough for us to kind of not go, holy shit, because you look at the wrestling. And that middleweight division has so many non-wrestlers throughout their rankings.
But dudes that are he's not going to be able to just take down and sub immediately. Like he's going to have to work. And does he slow down? What happens in second and third rounds? What happens when he gets punched in the face by a fucking a professional kickbox? Like there's
it's probably not going to hurt when he's on top.
But I mean, we're gonna see y'all are crowning a dude with 3 fights, man. I love Bo Nickal. I think he's the real deal. But
I called Bo Nickal champ 7 years ago before he even knew he was going into MMA.
That is true.
Gas out. This man's got gas for days.
I'm not saying gassing out. There's a different thing about being in a tough fight and getting hit and shit instead of just not get. Just you know what? He's gonna be putting you. I'm not convinced of any dude until they're put in a bad spot. They're going to
Yeah.
be put in a bad spot
I
eventually.
get it.
But you're right. The guy's he's the hype. He's the real.
Prospect wise, skill set, he might be the best prospect the UFC has ever had coming in. Like raw prospect, not a guy that was like 15 fights and come in like just raw green prospect.
Minus 1,800 against the actual UFC fighter in his debut off of 3 fights.
Yeah.
Like that is for real. That's
yeah. Well, a
and
guy
I look at it and I'm like, yeah,
it's
it's
right.
Yeah.
Well, it could probably should be like 2,000, like Ronda Rousey type shit. Like really.
Which is crazy. Like Pickett's not good by any means, but like this is a guy with like 6-7 UFC fights and some UFC wins. Bo Nickal's been fighting for a year. Like that man. Like if you guys haven't, who's listening to the show, if you haven't watched Bo Nickal wrestle, he has this meanness to him on his top game. He's one of the meanest wrestlers you'll ever see. That's why I always thought he transitioned well. Like he hurt people wrestling. Like go back and watch some of this guy, and you can see where the hype comes from of just watching Bo wrestle, and he's a mean motherfucker. Anyway, let's start off in the early prelims. We can go. This card does not start off well. We'll start with the lightweight division. Esteban Ribovics versus Loic Radzhabov. I've actually seen this guy fight. I cannot pronounce it.
Multiple times.
PFL fella.
Yeah, I've seen him multiple times.
You, Sean?
Don't have much here. I was short on tape time this week. So
did you buy the?
I hate when that happens.
The criminal guy, the thief, he runs this thing where he tells you to click a button instead of just typing in the guy's name yourself. It's a huge service.
You got paid for
saved me
shit.
some time, so unfortunately I couldn't deep dive this one. I'll take the guy that's minus 300.
These are still terrible, but
oh god,
they're in the fridge, so you gotta take care of them.
That's better.
I had no White Claws in London. None. A lot of Guinness. It tastes different over there, you know.
I'm a big Guinness draft fan. Always have
Dude,
been.
I'm sure people who listening are from Europe, but it's not even the same beer when you're over there. I had like 7 or 8 one night, and
Did
then
they
I had
pull
like
it out of the oven for you?
I got real hungover one next day. And if you've ever been to London, it's basically one giant speed bump. So I just was pounding Guinness, bunch of gin drinks, was out till like 1:30. Had to get up at like 7 and get to the office. It's like 1.5 miles, which in London's about a 25-minute drive. And there's a speed bump like every 6 feet in London. We're in this like van where the seats are facing each other. That's what the Uber XLs are. And we're just going like this in this van. And I look at the person across from me and it's like, I am going to vomit all over you. Like, it's not good. So don't have a hangover in London, I guess that's more of the story. All right, Wes.
Yeah, I don't have too much here. I think you got to go with the old Lokit, however you want to say his name. I just haven't seen too much of this other kid. I guess I saw him on Contender Series. It looks like he had a decent performance, but I can't remember him. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna pick the fave here and I got nothing on this fight as far as a bet.
Brad?
Yeah, I don't really remember that Contender Series event, but obviously he got a win, and Loic has, like, it's not like he's good. We've seen him fight a few times because he's been in PFL, but should he be the type of guy that's minus 300 here? That seems a little steep. So I might go the other way in Toastmaster, but no bet here.
There you go.
He's fought some. I will say this: he's fought some pretty good competition in PFL, and got to win over. He's got to win over Chris Wade. That's a good win. It's better than anything this other guy's ever fought.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I just think I was kind of looking at an over here as a play on anything that's plus money. He'll dirty this up and try to just slow this shit down. That's what he does. But I get what you're saying, man. He's minus 300 something. He's not good. He's not good.
I got nothing here. I'll pick the PFL fella. but I got nothing. Magic said you look like Andrew Tate with the beard, Sean. I think that's a compliment.
Ooh, that is not a ton compliment. No, thank you.
Bantam Top G. Bantamweight division, Damon Blackshear versus Farid Basharat. Nishan.
Not much here. I think Basharat should probably do some damage. Blackshear kind of getting quadrupled up by Lazez is not a great look. And Basharat, I think, is actually pretty decent. But that number is way too big to bet it.
Yep. Wes.
Yeah, I think Basharat's decent. I believe his brother might be a little bit better.
Yeah.
And this number's just it's kind of crazy on a guy that we just haven't seen enough of. Blackshear does have some finishes, some knockouts and shit. Like I think he does have some finishing ability in spots where I don't want to take that chance here. Like Basharat should win this, but man, minus 400 or something around there against a guy that has finishes and has that potential to pull something out of his fucking ass. I'm gonna pass. Pick's gonna be Basharat. I think he's okay, but I need to see a few more.
Brad, anything here?
Another one that I think's a little bit inflated, maybe because of the name. As Wes said, the other brother is the more talented one, I think. And I mean, Blackshear's got losses on his record, but losing to Danny Sabatello and Pat Sabatini, there's not a lot of shame in those kind of losses. So he's been in there with good competition. You know, it feels like even though he's only had one fight in the UFC, that he's been in the UFC like 4 times. He's just one of those guys that's kind of been on the regional circuit for forever, winning fights. So again, probably going dog in Toutmaster just for shits.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I think the line is inflated. I think Blackshear is kind of sub or bust here with his game, and I do think this is going to play out in the ground. Both these guys are decent ground fighters. Blackshear is a finisher on the ground. He's got mostly subs. I looked at Blackshear's sub; it's 11-1, and I think that's kind of his way to win here. He has 8 subs of his 12 wins. Definitely a sub guy, and I think the fight's going to be on the ground a good bit. So I think, who knows? I think at 11-1, that's a little bit inflated. I think Basharat is getting a little too much love here, and most likely outcome for Blackshear at 11-1. That might be worth a small little toss there on the prelim. So I think I'm going to I think Basharat's the more than likely winner, obviously, but I think at 11-1 is a little bit hard to pass up for me. All right. Women's strawweight, Jessica Penne, Tabitha Ricci. Anything? Joint team?
Low level women's MMA. Take the dog.
I can't believe Jessica Penne is still fighting. She took like a 9-year suspension, made an OnlyFans, came back, and she's somehow still fighting. Wow.
She lost too.
She's 40. Literally 40.
Do you think Jessica Penne lost money on her OnlyFans account?
I bought it. Who's buying these women's MMA OnlyFans accounts?
Sean, what's going on, bro? Can't hear you.
Well, this will speed the show up.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We can, yeah.
I had a good Jessica past a face joke, but it's not that good. Yeah. Penne is terrible, and Ricci should be able to wrestle her, but laying minus 300 on a very bad women's MMA fighter is not a good idea.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything? I got nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I was looking at was Ricci by sub. This pretty big number where I see Dave Mason's got a plus 600 out there. I think she wins this fight. She's going to probably get this to the mat. More than likely go to win a decision, but man, Penne's been caught in arm bars before. This chick's got some arm bar finishes. That plus 600's not looking too awful bad, so might have a little bit of that.
Brad, I assume you're good here.
Yeah, Jessica Pasta all day.
Yep.
I'm
All
gonna boil some water and make some pasta during this fight. Yeah.
That is
Fair.
time better spent than doing the alternative.
Yeah. Bantamweight Cameron Saaiman versus Leomana Martinez. Michelle.
This is another one like the favorite probably should win, but it's not something that I would feel confident in. Really cutting back on betting on fighters that have very few UFC fights, actual UFC fights. So this one obviously did not make the cut.
Oh, I remember this Martinez guy. He sucks.
Yeah.
He is not good
Not good.
at all. He's terrible. All right, Wes.
Yeah, I think Mana is pretty bad. I think the Saaiman kid is okay. He might be decent. I definitely want to see a little more. I was kind of looking at the under here. I think they're going to go out there and scrap, and I just think that Mana is he's not got the best chin. I think Saaiman can find a finish here. So don't trust him to lay that kind of price on straight. And yeah, in case Mana pulls something out, he's got some finishes. I just think they're going to scrap in this fight. So the under at around see some -110 out there. Probably be the way I go if I make a bet on this fight. Saaiman's the pick.
Fred, anything here?
Don't hate that under. Another inflated favorite. Like this Saaiman guy beat some dude who didn't have any clue how to fight on Contender Series, and then a super late replacement on his UFC debut. Like he's done nothing to be a -250 favorite. I know that that Mana isn't good, but his performance here is going to set the table for the breakdown of Dricus du Plessis later on in the card. It's all part of a narrative.
The South African contingent,
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Jack,
like
guys,
Mana's,
dog pick.
yeah, you're gonna have to watch. It's like holding up the card in that Family Guy sketch. Like the top three are okay, the bottom three not good. That's what we're heading with Dricus later on. He's not looking for a good time.
I'll take the South African fella here. Quite jacked for bantamweight. Looking good. So I'll take him because of that. And Martinez sucks. Split over fucking Guido Canetta and Brandon Davis. I remember that Brandon Davis fight. That is not good. All right, and then welterweight division, last early prelim, Ian Garry, Song Kenan. Michelle.
Ian Garry's time will come, but it seems like the UFC is booking him correctly and not rushing him because he obviously has a lot of defensive liabilities at this point. It's just the guys that he's fighting, his offense is greater than theirs. So this is another one he's not going to have to grapple. Kenan coming off a knockout. It's probably going to happen, but I would not bet this guy at -700.
Wes.
Yeah, I'll never forget the Insulin Kid piecing up fucking Ian Garry for most of a first round, like straight up piecing his shit up.
Thing that happened.
But like Sean said, the time will come. It's just not. It's not gonna be here. Song's just not good enough. Gary's probably gonna win this. Probably inside the distance. Song gets finished by just about everybody. So, not sure what Garry inside the distance is. This is just something I want nothing to do with.
It is a very, very big number.
Yeah, that's just total pass on this fight.
Yeah, all of the early prelims are incredibly inflated. I don't know if it's because nobody bet last week, so they all saved their parlays for this week. But man, it's tough.
Round robin time.
Yeah, I'll probably do something stupid on the prelims. That's the only way I'm going to tune into them. Yeah, it's hard to put your money on Song Kenan, but no way I'm touching Ian Garry in this spot.
Get Garry inside at like minus 175, minus 200. I guess
Maybe
that's not as
Gary's-
bad.
He's not a big finisher. Like Gary's
No.
not this like emphatic
It's-
finisher.
It's
where I
more.
would wait,
It's
right?
more Song. Song goes
Yeah.
out there and just
Yeah.
goes all out and gets fucking taken out.
Yeah. Well, I'll take Ian Garry in this. I don't know if I'm gonna throw. There's a chalky parlay to be had here with a bunch of big numbers that are probably gonna win. So I might throw him in something. But
I did it
You
last
don't
week.
need to throw this guy in there. Like, what's that going to add?
I did it last week and it worked out
Shevchenko
until
or
like,
any of those. But I will take Ian Garry. He might get a finish. But he's not a finisher. I'm not as sold on this guy as some though. I think he's got a good skill set, but it's alarming to me when you have a guy that is a much better fighter in all his fights and he's still not able to put guys away. That's usually a red flag to me. If you think of any top line guy, usually they come into the UFC finishing everybody and then it starts to dwindle off. So if he's already not finishing guys and with his striking and where he's dominating fights, that's a bit worrisome. So I'm not as high on him as some. But all right, let's move up. Now it starts to become a better card. Middleweight division, Julian Marquez versus Marc-Andre Barriault. I dig this fight. You, Sean?
Do you just like Julian Marquez just more than you should based on how bad he is?
He does.
All his fights are super fun.
They're fun or just slop fest, and that kind of gets fun as well. Yes, I understand.
Fun. Same pitch.
Yeah, fair. I took Barriault by decision at plus 350 for half a unit. I could see this fight if Barriault's able to, keep it standing and grind like he does. I just don't think Marquez is that good, but he is tough. He is extremely tough, and for the most part, Barriault is not really much of a finisher. So I think this is a good go long, and I think Barriault's got a shot to pull off. Well, I guess it's not really that much of an upset because I guess he's a slight
he's the
favorite
favorite
now. But
He's favorite, yeah.
But plus 350 is wild for a guy that's not a elite finisher against a guy that's very tough. So that's the direction I'm going.
Wes?
Yeah, for me, I think Sean kind of hit on something that kind of sways me in this fight because I think it's close. I could see it playing out a couple different ways. One dude is just tough as fuck, and I'm not sure Barriault can get Marquez out of there to where Marquez is gonna be coming. He's gonna be throwing shit. I've seen Barriault fold up, man. I've never seen Marquez fold up. Like he's getting
stupid to get knocked out.
He's getting taken out. Like he is gonna come after you, or he's gonna get taken out. I'm just not sure that kind of fight plays out great for Barriault, man. Like Sean said, the dude couldn't finish a fucking half a Twinkie, man. Like I'm not rushing out to bet Marquez right now, but if the line keeps climbing, it's something I'm probably going to look at. But like I said, for me, it comes down to a dude that I just think is way tougher that I know is going to stay in that fight. I don't think Barriault can finish him and get him out of there, and that's not going to go well for Barriault, in my opinion.
Brad?
I'm more on the same page as Sean here. I wasn't really looking at the Barriault decision, but I am now. I'll consider it. But what I do like is I think the over 1.5 here is kind of a great parlay piece. Because if Marquez is going to win, even when he does win in fights, he usually gets beaten up or taken down for the first couple rounds. And yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's a very strong possibility here. So I think I'm going to play it a little safe and find something to parlay the over 1.5 with. Minus 175, minus 180.
I like Marquez here. I think he has more ways to win this fight. I think he could get this fight down to the ground. He's too stupid to do so early, but I do think that's an option to him. He's obviously the finisher in this fight. He's the tougher guy in this fight. And if you actually look back at Barriault's UFC run record, whatever you want to say, it's one of the worst I've ever seen. He starts off losing his first 3 fights to decent, okay at best guys. Then he beats Azatar, who sucks, beats Lung Ambulance, gets knocked out by Cheaty. Only guy he beats next is Jordan Wright, and then gets submitted by Fluffy. It's one of the for how long he's lasted in the UFC, almost like 10 fights now. It's one of the most unimpressive runs.
Fluffy is what people thought Andre Muniz is, right?
Fluffy's good, but the whole thing, it's not good. And if I look at, Marquez, even earlier in career, it's like he's fought even a little bit better competition. He's lost some of them, like Hobocop and stuff like that, but he's been in some wars. He's been in some tough fights, and Barriault usually does good if he's the guy kind of running the dance, throwing the hammer. I think he's going to struggle here with a guy that's going to be in his face. He's not going to get out of it. And Marquez is tougher. And sometimes, being the better finisher, being the tougher guy, and having more ways to win, I think it's like plus 125 at certain places now. I think that's very worthy of a bet on Marquez. So that's going to be the pick, and that is going to be the bet here. All right, let's move up now to the women's flyweight division as we had Vivi Araújo taking on Amanda Ribas. Sean.
I think this is a close fight. The price is probably right. Araújo's got probably the better wrestling. Ribas has shown fairly good takedown defense, but I think Ribas is probably a little bit better on the feet and doesn't get his hit as much on the feet. So I don't know. Close fight. I'll take Ribas even though she's the slight favorite.
Wes?
Yeah, close fight. I'm kind of slightly leaning the other way. I watch Ribas get clinched up by the book again and stuff. I just think Araújo can do that kind of same game plan and win a very close decision here. So I haven't made a bet on this. If I do it would be Araújo by decision. Not sure what that price is. I hadn't looked at it. Some plus 210 out there or so. So yeah, it's kind of the way I lean. I think either way you go in this fight, it probably by decision is probably the way to go to get a little bit more bang for your buck. I'll lean Araújo.
Brad?
Yeah, don't care. Women's flyweight with a 36-year-old and somehow someone who gets knocked out at women's strawweight. Don't really think it's too important.
Yeah, I lean Ribas here. I was thinking of playing her, but the line keeps going up. It's minus 125, minus 130 now. And the wrestling with Ribas always worries me. I could see her piecing her up in the feet and winning this easily. I could also see her getting taken down, and she has no get-up game whatsoever. She needs to train with like the Black Beast, just the fucking get-up game. I think that would help her a little bit. She gets taken down, she's kind of there. And she can lose a round with one takedown, which is a little bit worrisome when you're losing juice to a pretty decent fighter. So probably going to be a pass here. All right, let's now move on to the middleweight division as we have Derek Brunson taking on Juices the Plessis. Sean.
This is going to be an interesting fight. Wes is going to be ready for the memes. And it's going to be scary.
I hope not.
I hope not as well. It is going to be a bit scary, in my opinion, for at least a couple minutes until Brunson can get a takedown. If he can't, then he's getting memed. But I think he's got a decent shot to get him down here and tire Duplessis out. For the most part, his takedown defense is very untested. Brunson just can't get memed, and he can't get memed early, and it's as simple as that. If he doesn't get smashed early, I think he takes over this fight and can win a decision or possibly even finish Duplessis if he gasses out. Like that fight with Darren Till did not do wonders for him, in my opinion, and I'm pretty surprised by the line. So I got a unit on Brunson at plus 200. You just hopefully he can survive early, because then I think we should be good.
Yeah, Wes.
Yeah, I mean, I think us here more than most know what can happen in a Derek Brunson fight. But I will say I haven't seen a whole lot of more of the fucking yard sprinkler punches lately from Brunson and stuff. So he's tightened that up a bit. But, it's definitely the wrestling here. And what I saw in that Till fight is just there's tons of holes to be exploited. I mean, Till was fucking piecing this guy up at points in that fight. Like, I had money on Plessis in that fight and was worried.
So did I.
For a good bit of that fight, was worried, man. Like, Derek Brunson can absolutely get some takedowns here. I'm not sold on Plessis' cardio. I mean, we saw him running on empty in that fight. Like, just tons of red flags against Darren fucking Till in that fight. I think you have to take some plus 200 on here and just kid's going to have to show me if he's got it or not. I know what Brunson's going to bring to the table, and he could have a winning strategy here. So plus 200 is a good number.
Brad?
Yeah, this is insane. Like, Dricus Dupartide was just going life and death with Darren Till a couple months ago, and now he's minus 250 against Derek Brunson. Like, what are we doing here? There's a possibility that Brunson gets memed. We know that. It's always a possibility in the first round. If this gets out of the first couple minutes, though, like, this guy was legitimately losing to Darren Till in 2022.
Yep.
After owning Darren Till through a round.
After 10-7ing him in the first round. Like, that's a terrible look. And he did that. His success in that fight was being able to out-wrestle Till. He's not out-wrestling Derek Brunson. Like, so then what happens? It's meme or he dies. Derek Brunson is going to grapple the apartheid out of Dricus Dupartide. All right? It's over. He's the new Mandela. All right?
Oh, man. Blonde-haired Mandela.
Brunson's inside at plus 550.
I saw round 2 and 3 at like 1,000 and 1,400, and I was scratching my head.
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like Brunson here. Obviously, lots of reasons. Hog analysis, wrestling, a lot of stuff. I won't repeat what you guys said about the Till fight. I was on Till in that fight. I was one of the few, and I was actually starting to feel pretty good after that second round because Plessis' gas is pretty quick, and I think it was more Till being Till in the third round more than him having a better gas tank than we thought and kind of recovering. Brunson's not going to let this man breathe. If he gassed in that first round of the Till fight, what's he going to do fighting off takedowns, being underneath Brunson? Brunson's pretty active on top. He's not going to, kill you on top, but he's going to work on you, and he's going to gas you out. I think really Plessis has 3-4 minutes in this fight, and that could be less if Brunson gets a takedown quick. Yes, there's always the possibility with how hard Plessis hits, and this is how I feel like this high been losing lately. It's like I bet someone like Brunson, and he gets caught with one punch when he has this clear game plan and he goes out. So it's possible there for sure. But at plus 200, I don't see how you don't have a bet on Derek Brunson here. I think if he gets one takedown, that kind of saps the energy that takes him out of there. So I'm willing to risk it here. So that will be the consensus bet of the week on Derek Brunson plus 200. So a big one from the fellas this week.
This is the one right here, LR. That's the one to take to Tijuana.
Yep, we're good. We're good to go. All right. Someone said Brunson has one problem. He's looking for a way. He's always looking for a way out. That has nothing to do with anything. He's either going to get a takedown and dominate, or he's going to quit. There's no outcome in the fight.
Like, let's be clear though. It's not like he's quit against shitty guys.
Yeah,
Who has it been? Kenan, the Crystal Cannon, Thin Izzy, Jacare, Whitaker,
Anderson Silva, Robert Whitaker.
Like,
Yeah,
and he beat Anderson Silva.
yeah, that one doesn't count.
And then before, if you go even further back, Yoel Romero, Jacare. His only bad loss in his entire career was a split decision to.
That was awful. That was terrible. Horrible.
Yeah. Maybe the best losses of any guy I've ever seen.
That's because he
Definitely
beats the
any
people
guy
that he's
who's never
supposed
had
to.
it. Yeah, definitely a guy who's never had a title shot.
Brunson definitely can get caught and lose fights. That's his thing. But Brunson, for the most part, outside of the Whitaker fight where he went a little too much, he's usually a pretty good game plan guy. He follows the path. So I have faith that he'll do that. So let's move on now. Is the last prelim before we get into the main card. We have the bantamweight division. Cody Garbrandt taking on Trevin Jones. Sean.
Looking through Garbrandt's his last bunch of fights, it still annoys me that somehow I didn't cash Rob Font inside the distance against him, because there's a shit ton of knockouts in there, and
that was a bad
straight.
Font had 5 rounds to do it, and just
That's
Let him
when
straight.
Font sucked. See, some people were like, "What a performance!" I was like, "This guy's trash can."
I hit it. We hit it nice on him in Indiana, though. I played him. I played him straight. I didn't.
Oh, we were together, weren't we?
Yeah, we were up in Indiana after.
That was
It was
fun.
like our first after COVID shit.
Yeah, we got to do that again. I love that. I love that spot, that sports book in Louisville.
That's nice. It's nice over now. Yeah.
I dig.
at this point, you just kind of have to fade the chin until he can prove me wrong. Like, I know he's got one little win in between, 5 losses, but
He was losing that one too.
he was losing that one too. So he does have power, but prove me wrong. I'll take Trevin Jones inside the distance plus 300 for half a unit.
What's
Yeah. I think Trevin Jones is like not very good, but goddamn, man, he could throw a strong punch. Cody's just completely washed, man. You gotta take the plus money here. Half on straight, half on inside. Trevin Jones.
Did you see the there's an interview with Cody this week, and they were talking about his last fight, and he was like, yeah, like I was going through a divorce, and I was selling my house, and my mind wasn't right. Motherfucker, you've been getting knocked out by a stiff breeze for 6 years.
How long has this house been for sale?
Yeah. Like, that is not why you lost. You got hit with one clean punch, and you were out cold just like normal. There's the video of him doing like the chin exercise where he's like,
That is,
Sorry, bro.
that's
don't
not
think it's
gonna
gonna
do
work.
it. You know,
Like, my wife she hurt me so bad that I started getting knocked out. Never done that before, except for my last 5 fights. Those also were knockouts. But then she was being annoying, so they can't win here, Cody Garbrandt. Brent.
Yeah, Trevin Jones he's not good. Honestly, if you're just looking at a money line here, Garbrandt is going to win this fight for as long as he doesn't. Or he does, and it doesn't. He's going to be winning this fight.
Until he loses.
So it's a matter of if he loses within 15 minutes or somehow can survive without getting hit. And I don't think he can survive without getting hit at this point in his career. We talked about Brunson, how all of his losses are to like really good guys, and yeah, he gets memed. But that's happened over like 15 years. With Garbrandt, it's been in 6 fights that all of that has happened. So some guys don't have it anymore. And I think he falls into that category. Trevin Jones inside. I feel like you got to take the inside here. There's, he's not going to beat Cody Garbrandt in a fight unless he knocks him out.
Yeah, it's sad, really, for Cody when you think about it. Like, his chin had completely evaporated by like 27. Like, it's really some bad luck when you think about it. Like, the guy had a skill set. He was a good technical boxer. He had a little bit of wrestling background. He had some good stuff going with him. It shows this MMA, like, you get one thing like that, and there's nothing you can do. You can't repair your chin. And with his style, he's great offensively, but he's always been a little bit hittable. So he's only 31. That's the crazy thing with Cody Garbrandt. Like, you think he'd be 38 with all those knockouts and everything else.
fucking Barriault. This dude's pulling a Barriault out there.
The good thing with Trevin Jones is he knows what he is. He's gonna he's not when you bet Trevin Jones inside the distance, you don't have to worry about him, trying to sneak out a decision. he's going to go out there and he's going to throw fucking bombs. And if he lands one, I just don't think Cody can take it. And if this fight does go to that, Trevin Jones also has a couple sneaky subs here and there. So you never know. He could die for a guillotine. Something could happen there. But I just think that chin is shot. And I think anyone that can hit hard plus 300 inside versus Cody Garbrandt is worth it, at least a stab there. So that'll be the Munich pick of the week. It's 469-2 is the current record of Munich, and most of those are like plus 200 or better. So
yeah,
get on the Munich train. All right, let's now move on to the main card. We will not take long on this fight. We kind of already talked through it, and there's not much to cover here, so maybe more on just bets. But we have the future middleweight champion of the world from Penn State University, 4-time All-American, 2-time national champion, Bo Nickal versus Gane. You, Sean?
Yeah, I don't have much on this fight. I couldn't find a way. Round one is like almost minus 200. Under 1.5 is a very, very big number. Let's just enjoy Bo Nickal destroying a body.
Yeah, he's gonna kill him. Wes?
Yeah, the only thing I was looking at on this fight, if I wanted to throw a couple bucks on it, was Bo Nickal by KO. Like Pickett's taking some ground and pound losses. I think Bo Nickal could end up on top instead of behind him, choking him out with a rear naked, and just throwing some punches and the rest stepping in. I think that's a possibility. So if I take anything on this fight, it'd be Nickal by TKO. There's some plus 225 out there.
Loudon Swain. That's a good comment, LR. Dig it. Do you guys know who Loudon Swain is?
The wrestling movie.
Vision Quest.
Fever Dream. Yeah, Vision. There you go. Vision Quest. Yeah.
Vision Quest. Come on, Brad.
Yeah, I tried to get cute on Nickal's second Contender Series fight and take the TKO like Wes is doing now, and it didn't work out for me. He legitimately seems like he wants to submit people, and he is very talented as a submission grappler. So I think if I want to grab some plus money here, I'll look for the Bo sub 1. That's like plus 115, a couple spots. Chalky as shit, but turning in a minus 1,800 or whatever he is into some plus money, I'll take that shot.
What's Bo round 2?
Who cares? He ain't getting there.
500 in some places.
Yeah, 500's your best there.
I don't know. Obviously, Bo here. He's going to take care of business. I'm glad they're giving him a fight like this with a guy who doesn't know how to wrestle. The only thing I think it's going to get Bo in trouble in this fight or any other fights if he decides he's the boxer. I know he's had some good fights where he's dropping guys and things like that, but this dude should be just head forward, taking takedowns, finishing guys in the ground. His jiu-jitsu already looks like it's pretty damn good. His ground and pound's good. This will be an easy one. I think in terms of the bet, I think inside's like minus 400 for Bo Nickal in case that slips to the second round. That is a minus 1,800 on the money line, and the inside's like minus 400. Yep. That seems like a bad line there. So I'll take Bo. He's not gonna fluffy. Give me a fucking break.
There you go. Lance. You can
rank of my man Bo Nickal. So I will have that in a parlay, Nickal inside the distance, and I'm also interested to see kind of where he goes from here in terms of next step up, things like that. Because this is not a guy they're going to slow play because Bo will not allow it. This isn't the Ian Garry situation. So I think Bo he might fight a ranked guy next fight. I think they're going to move him that quick.
That's got to be a mistake, George.
Yeah,
that can't be right.
It's definitely not.
Every once in a while, Bet Rivers has
minus
where they.
Yeah, George. I looked. It's like minus 250.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, that would be some instant bet shit.
Not be there for longer than 5 seconds.
Yeah. Tony would come back from his grave and murder you.
Ban your account. You never bet again. No.
He would at least threaten your family. At a bare minimum. He would threaten your family. All right, let's now move on now to the lightweight division with Martus Gamrot coming versus Jalen Turner. You, Sean.
This should be a fun fight. Turner obviously brings it early. He's just huge and long for this weight class. He's surprised me with how he's been able to get the guys out of there the last couple fights. This is a big step up. This is a very tough matchup, just style matchup. Because as we saw, Gamrot will just keep fucking grappling. Even if he's losing, he just continues to grapple. He's, as long as he doesn't get deaded early, I think he out-grapples, tires out Turner, and gets him out of there. The early stuff is a little bit concerning for me, a bit more than I think some of you other guys here. So I'm looking, actually, I might lay the under 2.5 at -150. Either of these guys can get each other out, and if Turner doesn't get him early, I think he will eventually gas just from all the grappling, and Gamrot will take him out.
It's one of the most unimpressive five-fight win streak I've ever seen in my entire life, I would say.
Yeah,
Riddell wins not bad by the way he did it. Like, nobody's done that to Brad Riddell.
Riddell's done, though. Like,
I know he's done now, but like nobody ever did that to him.
He was a shell before that Turner fight, though. He wasn't the same guy we had seen in a while.
Yeah,
it's still that great knockout performance. Yeah, ended up being a choke.
I mean, before that, he had a war with Fizzy Pop. Like,
yeah, but we always knew with Riddell, if you can grapple him a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's still Brock Weaver and Malarkey.
Brock Weaver, the truth, man. Big fan of that guy.
Look, I still have, however I look at it, I can't see Turner getting Gamrot out of there early. I just personally can't see that. If he wins, if he wins, he's gonna have to get Gamrot out of there like early in the first round, or the grind is starting, and Jalen Turner is not gonna survive that ground. It's not gonna happen. He's a level above Jalen Turner, in my opinion. I might be proven completely wrong come Saturday night, but Gamrot is fucking legit. He has fought legit high level dudes, man. Like, Jalen Turner has not been in any kind of fight like that, man. I like Gamrot here. He's sitting around -200. I think that's $1 low, personally, man. Like, I know it's because Turner's got these finishes lately and he's looked really good. Man, the competition has been fucking next to nothing. I like Gamrot a lot here.
Yeah, Gamrot, he's going to try and grapple, and as soon as someone tries to grapple Turner, he usually jumps for a guillotine. I don't think he's going to get it against this guy, and then he's going to be in hell underneath him for the better part of 15 minutes, or he might get stopped. So Gamrot is what I'm putting with that over 1.5 in Marquez. That's +131, and we're doing that for 2 units.
Yeah, I like Gamrot here. I don't know where Turner has an advantage other than being tall.
Long.
That's an advantage. He's tall.
He's got more power.
I don't know.
Maybe.
I think so.
Yeah.
Look, you got to look at the guys he's punching, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, Gamrot is fighting guys that are just so much better than what Turner's ever.
Yeah, I think overall, if I'm looking at it, Gamrot's the better striker. If we throw power as an equation there, I think Gamrot is the better pure striker. He's the better wrestler. He's got the better jiu-jitsu. He's got the better cardio. I think this line is just an absolute steal. I think this ended up being one of my favorite parlay pieces on the whole card. It's like -220. Gamrot's the truth. This is a just absolute massive step up for Jalen Turner, as well as the kind of matchup that I think moving forward, Jalen Turner is always going to struggle with. A guy that can grind him into the mat. I think is where Jalen Turner is going to struggle. If he dies for guillotines against Gamrot, that is just an absolute waste of energy. I think this thing is going to get ugly towards the end of the second round, third round, with Gamrot on top a lot. Gamrot has some pretty good takedowns. He can take guys down, and he can grind them out, beat them up. And I don't know if it's going to go to the cards. I know someone mentioned to decision. Turner's going to be so fucking tired by the end of that second round, early third round. I think Gamrot, in a huge pay-per-view, like, he's going to want to make a statement. I think he gets a late finish in this one. And at that line, I absolutely love it. So I will be betting on Gamrot.
His grind and pace and shit's incredible.
It's wild.
He's great.
Yep.
Solid. All right. Let's move on now.
He's in a horse balloon. Like a balloon animal. He stayed Pacific.
I like Gamrot. He's a wrestler, kind of.
Yeah.
Not D1. Doesn't really count, but he tries hard. All right. Welterweight division. Another guy I like. Jeff Neal versus my boy Shave Cat. Let's do it. New Sean.
I think Lance is turning into one of those Russian propagandists. He's supporting all these Eastern European dudes these days. I don't know what's going on with you, man.
All right. First off, neither are Russian.
That's why I switched it up to Eastern European the second time.
Well, I've been there.
The key about this is
I spent several weeks in Eastern Europe. They loved me there. They didn't like me. They didn't like me at all. They wouldn't even say hi to me.
That sounds about right.
It was like in Die Hard 3 when Bruce Willis has to wear that sign in Harlem. I won't repeat what that sign says. All the movie. That's kind of how I felt in Eastern Europe. Not good. Great people though. Real nice, I bet. All right, you Sean?
Yeah, like I'm a big fan of the Shave Cat. He kind of does everything well. I think his best path to victory is to get Jeff Neal down. Sometimes that's harder than others. If it's on the feet, it's probably a little bit closer than what the line says. But Shave Cat is I think he's elite, and he is a finisher. So I think he gets Neal down at some point and grabs a neck, and he finishes him. So at the price it's tough to play that number. I mean, if you're like Lance said, if you're going to chuck a bunch into a bunch of chalk parlays, you can roll with that. I'm just going to leave it and enjoy the Shave Cat work.
Wes, how come you never drink on the podcast anymore? You used to drink some beers with us. You just full focus.
It was
You had the
wine for
wine.
a little bit.
Yeah, I did a couple weeks because man, it's hard for me to get fucked up during the week. Like I don't drink. I got a problem with just having a couple beers. You know what I'm saying? Like
I don't have an alcohol problem. I have a problem only having a couple.
Yeah, I mean, when I drink, I get fucking drunk. Like no, I don't drink like just sit around social.
We haven't seen the weed wine and Wesley.
Yeah,
the real WWW.
Yeah,
in a while now.
I got Vegas in a few weeks.
Yeah,
Gotta get my mind right.
We won't talk about it. Yeah, look, I this line is pretty big, and it's tough to do, you know, even a chalk parlay with that because I do think Jeff Neal is a pretty decent fighter, and if this is on the feet for an extended period of time, like we know Jeff Neal's got some pop, but man, like Jeff Neal got grounded on by Magny. Let's not forget this shit. Like he went fucking life and death with pontoon boat and shit. Like that
was pre-death, wasn't it? Or pre-almost death?
He had a
AD. Now he's
after. I mean, he had a great performance against Luque, but man, Luque is what Luque is. Like that was actually, in hindsight, of course, a great matchup for.
If the real Jeff Neal shows up, which he did that night.
Yeah, and that's another question about Jeff Neal, like who shows up half the time. Like I've seen bad performances out of him, man, and I can't see it here, man. I think Shave Cat is legitimately like a great fighter. Also, the line's kind of crazy, so I get people laying off of it. It'll probably be in some stupid chalk parlay for me because there's some other pieces on here, but yeah, it's Shave Cat. I don't know. I can't argue too much of somebody taking a shot on Neal off a performance like that against a guy like Luque. But for me, I just think that was a great matchup for him. And before that, he's looked not great in 3 straight fights. So I like Shapecat here.
Brad.
I feel like I could blame people for taking Neal here. I don't see how he wins this fight. He beat Luque because Luque is an incredibly hittable fighter, and he was able to hit him a lot. Shavecat is not. Shavecat is going to beat him up if they're striking. He's going to beat him up if they get to the clinch, and he's going to beat him up if they get to the ground. This dude is the real. I apparently stupidly picked him to be the champ at the end of the year, which I don't think is like that far out of the realm of possibility. Another big performance on a big pay-per-view, that could boost him into that sort of shot. So I'm rolling with my boy. Don't think I can bet it though.
Yeah, I like Shavecat here. I think Neal's last couple fights where he's looked better, I think he's dealing with some Washington Redskins more than looking better.
Inconsistency.
Ponzi, the fact that I think a lot of guys, but where we won Ponzi's last fight, where he got that miracle KO versus Moreno.
Yep.
Never in doubt.
Sean, it was us 3, I believe. Yeah.
I don't care who Ponzi fights next. I'm betting him. Ponzi is wash. And then Luque, if you lose to Bilal.
Who is he fighting? Didn't they announce a Ponzi fight? He's fighting like a banger, right?
Lawler.
Kevin Holland.
No, he already did that.
Kevin
No,
Holland.
it's Holland.
Holland,
Yeah.
Holland's gonna
that's going to go
absolutely
poorly for
massacre him.
Ponzi.
And then with Luque, it's not like, you remember when there was the runner Frank Yeager when he used to steal the souls? He would just beat you so bad that you'd lose your next fight and you'd just kind of be washed. So Luque lost to Bilal Muhammad. It's kind of the opposite. Frankie took your soul by beating the shit out of you. Bilal takes your soul by being so embarrassed that you lost to him that you just got nothing left and you have nothing left to fight for. You're like, oh my God, I just lost this guy. He didn't even punch me.
Oh, man.
He didn't punch me and he didn't go for a submission and I lost to him. That's not good. And I think that's what Bilal does. So I think this revitalized Jeff Neal is not a thing. I think more correctly is we overthought Jeff Neal, I think, at the beginning. And we thought he was something he might not have been. Looking back at his victories, not as good. The Bilal fight, obviously, that hung up. That was good. But Mike Perry, Nico Price, Frank Camacho, Brian Camozzi. I think Neal wasn't who we thought he was, and he gets that Mike Perry win because that time we thought Perry was okay. Not good, but he was decent. And then he runs into real fighters. He loses them, and then he gets a couple washed up dudes. And Shavecat's legit, and I like having guys that have multiple ways to win. I think Shavecat has that. I think he can hang on the feet, but I think the most clear path is obviously getting a takedown and working him on the ground, which I think will happen. I'm fine with the price. I will throw it in a parlay. All right, let's move past this next one pretty quick because holy shit, who cares about Shevchenko? Women's flyweight, Shevchenko, Grasso, Sean.
The only people that have a chance at beating Shevchenko are people who are very good grapplers, and Grasso is not that. So it's going to be Shevchenko, and hopefully she can put us out of our miseries early, but that's not going to happen.
No, it's not. It's going 25. And the fact that we have to wait, we're gonna watch Shavecat, which is just, I mean, the first 2 fights of the card will be fun. Then we're gonna get to Shevchenko. It's gonna be 25 minutes of absolute fucking torture to get to Johnny fucking Jones, which will be worth the wait when we get there. But still, this 25 minutes is gonna feel like hours at the end of this card. Wesley.
Yeah, Shevchenko probably gonna go 25 minutes. Who cares?
Yeah,
What's
fair.
her decision
Right.
price? Is it even good?
I don't even want to look.
Plus 200?
Plus 200.
200?
That might not be.
But she could also sub her. Grasso has no idea what she's doing down there.
I mean, she could finish Grasso. Like, I would not be shocked.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
She's better at finishing people that have a sub weakness versus striking weakness.
I mean, like DraftKings at like minus 600 or something could go in a chalk parlay. I think it's pretty safe, but why? I mean,
what are like the over 1.5 or 2.5 or something?
yeah,
like
something
that?
like
1.5
that.
is 235.
1.5 is 235.
Yeah, there you go.
No. 2.5 is minus 135.
Yeah, 1.5.
1.5 is minus 225.
235. Yeah, that's
that's
fine.
That's a
Yeah.
parlay
Yeah.
piece.
Yeah.
She's not gonna head kick Grasso and knock her out in like a round. It's
No,
not.
but Grasso's grappling is.
Yeah, but
Shit,
Grasso's she's not enough of a threat on the feet that she's gonna go to that right away. Like this
you're
is
good. You're gonna get Dan
boxing.
Shevchenko. You're gonna get Dan Shevchenko for a couple rounds. Her fucking on
And
the
then you
outside.
get Shevchenko.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Grasso tries to pick up the pace because she's down a couple rounds, and then Shevchenko takes her down and subs her, something like that.
Yeah.
But 1.5 is like that's a good parlay piece. At
this is the
-235.
prototypical dog walk fight. 25 minutes, you get the extra long walk.
The long dog walk.
Get
I got a
paid
new
for the
puppy,
dog
by
walk.
the way. We got
Is that
two
what
dogs.
we hear in the
Yeah, he's a little yappy.
I've actually got a foster dog that we might adopt coming up from Tennessee.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he's got 3 legs. He's pretty
That's
awesome.
awesome.
This is one.
So yeah,
What
we'll see.
I used to have an aunt that raised dogs, and they would have litters and shit. And the first one she had was a beagle with a stub leg, and like one of her puppies would always be missing a leg, and she would always keep that one. So she had like 4 of them that were all like 3-legged fucking beagles, man. It's pretty wild.
How did it get from Tennessee to Canada?
So it got hit by a car, and the family was gonna just like put it down because you Americans are soulless bastards. And then the vet was like this is a perfectly healthy dog other than the leg, so they amputated the leg and then rescued it and coming up here.
Sent it to Canada?
Called the foster dog Dick Willie.
That was Canada was the closest people that would take it?
I guess we're just a little bit more humane up here, Lance.
No.
What do I have to tell you?
He said,
All right.
call him Thick Willie.
Fair.
LR's got to cheer for Grasso, or else he's going to get stabbed at a Mexican bar.
No, just that's where you bet the over. You just be like, I'm not cheering for anyone. I just want everybody to have a good time for more than 7.5 minutes.
No one's going to have a good time.
Nope.
Absolutely nobody.
Well,
All right,
another reason to cheer for the over.
I'll take Shevchenko. We'll go into the main card before we wrap it up for the night. Heavyweight division has finally happened. 3 years in the making.
10 years.
Bones Jones is making his return. Heavyweight division. 35 now. Looking a little chubby. But he's here. Jon Jones, Cyril Gane, Heavyweight Championship. Nishan.
He's here, but the fight hasn't started, so I would still be holding my breath.
And he's in Vegas.
He's in Vegas, so
Never
wearing ski caps and
Tactical
sunglasses
gear.
everywhere now. Like,
hey, the man is a friend of the Popo, so he's one of them now. I think this is gonna be a fight where if you bet on the right side, you're gonna be like, yeah, this was fucking obvious. Jon Jones took Gane down and just destroyed him on the ground. If Gane wins and after a 3-year layoff going up in weight, Jones looks slow and gets picked apart and can't wrestle like he kind of did in his last bunch of fights at light heavyweight, and Gane's able to just piece him up on the feet and win a decision, that's going to be obvious too. Look, the smart play. Well, I don't even know if there's a smart play in this because there are a lot of questions. I know Wes and some others are going to be laying absolute monster bets on Jon Jones because you're getting the GOAT at an extremely affordable price. I just have questions. I don't know. He's just been on the decline, and I know heavyweight sucks. Cyril Gane's kind of an interesting heavyweight, but he does have absolutely huge hole in wrestling. But we will see if that size is going to be a problem for Jones. His wrestling hasn't been great lately. I am going to put a small bet at plus 145 on Cyril Gane.
Let's.
I'm the white guy gif right now. Like, look, man, come on. What are we doing? This is still fucking Jon Jones at minus 160 against, like, why do people think Gane's like great or something? Why
he is very good, especially for heavyweight.
Come on, man.
He almost stopped the takedown from Ngannou.
He got wrestled by Ngannou with a blown out knee, dude. Like, come on, man. This guy's okay for a heavyweight.
He's very good for a heavyweight.
He's okay, man. Like, we've watched him. We watched him in fights literally not throw a punch for fucking 4 minutes at a time. Like, John's going to have somebody in front of him that throws one punch at a time. Like, that's not going to be some huge threat on the feet for Jon. Like, he's going to have the reach here.
He's been training with Jorgen De Castro.
I don't care about none of that. This is the
Gane's also the longest fighter he ever fought. The second longest was OSP. We remember how that went to a fun.
This is heavyweight, man. This isn't none of. Look, if Jon wrestled,
do you think that OSP is better than Gane as a fighter? Just like in general?
No.
Exactly.
There's way more circumstances surrounding that fight, though. Like, you can't just take all of that out of it and just say it's OSP or Gane. Like, who's better? Like, there's a lot of shit going on around that fight. But Sean's right too, and you're right for bringing it up. Like, John's been on a streak of like underperformances and stuff. I think this is the difference. This is what he needed to be motivated by a fighter. Like, he said it over and over. He wasn't motivated by none of those guys anymore. I get it. Like,
you better hope it was a motivation and not a fucking steady decline. That's all I'm saying.
Man, he's 35 years old, dude. He's never taken a mass. He's taken a couple beatings in a fight.
He's certainly not taking beatings in the gym.
So he's safe there.
Look, if Jon wrestles consistently here, he's gonna blow Gane out. This isn't gonna be close, and everybody's gonna be like, "My God." Jon Jones at minus 160 was one of the greatest prices we've seen since fucking Floyd. And I think Jon's going to wrestle. I think he is going to try to grapple this up. And we've seen fucking Francis Ngannou take this guy down repeatedly, hold him down, work him over with a bum knee. If Jon wants to win this,
not really work him over. He kind of laid there.
Yeah.
It's Francis Ngannou.
I'm just saying.
Francis Ngannou. Well, Jon Jones ain't gonna lay there. Jon Jones is, when he did do it, had some of the best ground and pound that we've ever seen in this sport.
I know,
so,
it's just been a decade since he has.
I get it, and I get, like, there are all these questions. Of course, the guy's still the greatest fighter I've ever seen. Have we saw some decline in his past fights? Yes, I think there are legitimate excuses for some of those performances. I think he's up for this fight. I think this is a legacy defining fight for Jon, and listen to him talk. That's all that he talks about. That matters to him. How his legacy is as a fighter really, really matters to that guy. This is a legacy defining fight. You're getting Jon Jones at minus 160 against an okay heavyweight fighter. Is Gane good? Yeah, he's good for heavyweights. Like, give me Jon Jones. I'm on Jon big here.
Magic wants to bet you what kind of price you give him if Jones gets zeros takedowns.
Oh,
yeah, I had to think about that.
Yeah.
I'm ready to watch TV. I'm tired.
All right.
There's a scenario to where this is like a lot of a staring contest on the feet. Like, if you don't think that's not a possibility, you're an idiot. This could be 25 minutes of those dudes staring at each other and barely throwing anything straight up.
Yep. Gane was a slight favorite to Ngannou. Looked like a bigger favorite than that early in the fight. And then, got a little bit tired, got out wrestled, and absolutely went brain dead in the 5th round and lost himself the fight. But like, to act like he, got Demi and Mayed by Francis
The dude
Ngannou.
had a torn knee though. Like we
Yeah,
gotta say that. The guy had a torn knee.
I wrestled him for 2 rounds.
Yeah.
What,
And Gane with a blown ACL.
Laid on
That's
for
pretty
Yeah, I know,
bad.
but that's a way more athletic heavyweight than Jon Jones is right now.
And mass-wise.
This is a collegiate wrestler versus a Frenchman. You can probably just leave it at that and call it a day. I mean, is that enough of a breakdown right there?
I just think I don't know about this. The only thing that I feel is lined right about this fight is the total, and that it's probably going to go to decision. And even that, if Jones comes out and decides, hey, I want to grapple, that's going to be way off as well. Because if he does do that, he's probably going to destroy Gane. And, some of Ngannou's takedowns came from the clinch. We know Jones is great from there. And when he wants to be on top and actually do stuff, he'll elbow your face off and submit you. It's just, he's had 3 good performances in the last 8 years, and he hasn't looked urgent in any of them. And I'm not sure that
one.
He fucking almost lost to Reyes.
Yeah, but he got bored. You could tell he just didn't give a shit. It's like the guy's going to live golf.
I hope you're right.
Yeah. So do you think he gives a shit about fighting some boring
100%.
Frenchman?
He
cares about his
legacy.
about legacy, man. If he gets 2 belts,
he can't even believe a single word that guy says. He'll fucking.
I believe he's
tell you
such
anything.
an ego narcissistic maniac that all that matters to him is how he's looked at as a fighter when it's
That's
over.
why it's crazy he flew Southwest, because I automatically judge him as like a poor loser.
Yeah, there you go. You should have gone with that before the wrestler versus Frenchman narrative. But I'm leaning towards having a bet on Gane here. Probably decision. And I think this is one where I might actually want to see some weigh-ins and wait a little later in the week, because I think a lot of people might think, oh, it's Jon Jones, and ended up betting him up.
Brad, I cannot let you bet on a Frenchman versus Jon Jones.
It's the Canadian roots.
I can't.
One out of every 10 times it gets
both
to
of
us.
them. You believe this shit, Lance? Both of these motherfuckers.
That's unbelievable to me. Jon Jones is the greatest of all time. I think anyone watches the sport, I think everyone kind of agrees on that. He's the greatest of all time. What he's done through his career, even despite the lackadaisical performances with Reyes and Santos and Smith and all that, he won those fights. He still won when he literally didn't give a shit. Was doing drugs every day. Was getting arrested. He still won those fights. He won title fights.
He was defending his belt, fucking partying all fucking week and barely training. Like,
I mean, he's still kind of
probably
doing some bad shit.
I
don't think he's on like the cocaine and shit anymore.
No,
Stuff like
he'd still be at 205. We said that already.
Yeah. I think for this fight, this is a motivating fight for Jon Jones. I think has been like when Jon Jones was facing guys that should beat him, he didn't like. Those were the best performances look at the best performances of Jon Jones's career after he got the belt. You look at the second DC fight, you look at the second Gustafsson fight, guys that there was some animosity. If you look at the Smith fight, the Santos fight, the Reyes fight, there was nothing there. There was no animosity. There was no competition. Jon knew his D game was going to win those fights, and that's what he brought. It's not a good thing, right?
Look what he did to DC, like you said. Look what he did to DC when it mattered when it actually mattered to him.
Now,
it's crazy how people misremember that fight, because that is honestly, people are like, oh yeah, DC was winning that fight up until he got kicked in the head. That's one of the best, like, break a dude down to the body and then go upstairs performances that MMA has ever seen.
Against an all-time great.
Against one of the all-time greats. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that was 6 years
Magic.
ago.
2013. The Gustafsson fight was 2018. I think Jones is just one of those athletes, one of those guys that needs something, and he has that in this fight. He's fighting for the heavyweight belt, which he's worked hard on. He's waited and it's taken time. He's fighting Gane, where this is the lowest odds he's been on a fight. He's fighting. This is the first time humans are picking against Jon Jones in a long time. This guy is such a narcissist. You don't think he's looking at the betting odds, reading the articles, seeing who's picking against him? He's going to be motivated for this fight, and he's fighting a French guy who can't wrestle. And if you here's some of the things he said. Jon has mentioned wrestling in every single interview he has had. I don't think Jon's just going to sit in space and strike with Gane. I think that's a way he can lose. I think this is the Jones who's going to clinch against the fence, who's going to work on stuff against the fence, work for those trip takedowns. He's not washed. He's 35 years old, and he really, for a guy who's had this many fights at 35, he's taken no damage.
He's been taking some more damage
through his entire career. And now he's fighting a French guy who can't finish anyone that's even somewhat good at fighting. If he faces anyone good, he just, boring decision here.
I know, dude, they forget the Rosenstruck fight, the Volkov fight, where this dude literally would do nothing.
Nothing.
Was scared to throw punches against these guys.
Punch versus
It's fucking insane, man.
That's why the over is the only thing that's accurately lined here.
He beat Tanner Bowes. He went to a decision with Tanner Bozer. He beat fucking the ghost of Dos Santos. Tied to Ivasa and shit. It's his best win and his best performance he's had in his career.
Regardless if Gane has fought for the heavyweight title, he fought in Ghana, all that stuff. He's fighting Jon Jones. There's something to that when you're fighting pretty much in everyone's opinion, the greatest fighter of all time. You don't know how guys are going to perform. I think at minus 160, I think you're getting a pretty good fucking price for the greatest of all time, who, if you look at skill-wise, talked about earlier, he's got the path to victory. And it wouldn't surprise me if Jon Jones could just outstrike Ciryl Gane. That wouldn't surprise me at all. With his length, with his quickness, it wouldn't surprise me if Jon Jones could put him against the cage and knee him in the stomach a fucking bunch and win a boring, dirty decision.
Or land 5 more punches in a round than Gane because he just doesn't throw punches.
I think we're going to see old school. I think we're going to see takedown Jon Jones. I think we're going to see wrestling Jon Jones.
I hope.
Fucking better hope.
Well, with the size wager I got, I hope.
Well,
I'm not as worried about if this is a 25-minute stand on the feet fight as some people are. I think Gane is so tentative in these kind of situations that Jon could sit back and land 5 or 6 more jabs or a couple fucking thigh kicks on Gane and win rounds. That's absolute possibility against this guy.
Gane lands more strikes.
If that's how the fight plays out, if that's how the fight plays out, and you've got a massive wager on Jones minus 160, that ass is going to be so puckered.
I don't want to see that. I didn't say I wanted to see that.
I think I've bet on Jon Jones in every single fight of his career since Ryan Bader. He just wins. You take the money, you go home, you call it a day. So we'll stop there. We can talk about this forever. I think we see a good Jon Jones. I think we see a revitalized Jon Jones, a motivated Jon Jones, and I think at minus 160 is the price to play. So I will be betting Jon. I might parlay him with Shave Cat or something like that, or maybe even play him straight if it goes down a little bit. A lot of morons like you two Canadians out there could be driving the price down for us. So we'll see where that line kind of ends. But we do appreciate it. Fun show this week. Is there a card next week, I assume? What's next week?
Always cards.
Good to be back.
Oh, it's our boy
versus Jan. That's gonna be
the snooze machine, dude. Snooze machine's about to put this man on a fucking trip.
That's
watch out.
That's gonna be.
We should let the people know, for the 4 that are still watching or listening, that we are back to being live all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're live moving forward.
The constraints are off.
Appreciate you guys joining. We'll be back next week for the Jan Georgian Snooze Machine fight. Everyone enjoy the fights this weekend. Hope you win your butts, and we will see you next week.
Win your butts.
Butts.
Bets.
What?